UndergroundHipHop.com, Super Rockin' DJ on and on. We are in Beantown on a nondescript bus in a nondescript area. Now, this very special guest multitasking right now. You might know him as Mr. El Producto. You might know him as an official underground hip hop icon. You might know him as a label starter, producer, MC. I could go on and on, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let me cut to the chase. Right now, New York's finest. We got LP in the house. Thank you for being on UndergroundHipHop.com.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Incredible show, by the way. He wiped the blood off and everything, man. You got to check him. Now, let's go in, man. Now, first of all, there was a point where Company Flow, everybody's familiar with, was on Rawkus, left Rawkus because Rawkus wasn't exactly on the same page as what you guys were trying to do musically. They're trying to take it to the next level. Now,
No, that wasn't it. They just weren't paying us.
all right, that
It's a little bit easier.
that factors in. But now you have the CEO label on your you're wearing that hat. Do you find that ironically some of the artists are saying the same things to you, or how is your label run differently now?
Nah, I think that there's no, I don't.
Okay.
Because the thing about my problem with Rawkus was that we never got paid. I do understand that it's hard to run a label, and as I started to experience, really running a record label and having at first it just started. It was just like, fuck it, we'll put some records out, and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We had an idea, but we didn't have any real professionalism behind it. We didn't have anything. It was just like, I just took all the money I had invested that I had saved up from doing the Company Flow shit, and I put it into these records to put out. And all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, like we actually have to be a record label. We're actually selling some records here. And so yeah, there was a learning curve, you know what I mean, when we first started this shit. I was real adamant about it though. My whole thing about leaving Rawkus was I needed to be the type of label that was completely transparent. I needed to be the type of label that, and I'm not shitting on Rawkus, it's all good, but
Right.
This is what I thought. I need to be the type of label that I want to sign to. And it took a while to get there. It took about a year, 2 years for me to get to the type of professional machine where everything is transparent. Everyone knew what was going on every time. There was never any fucking funny shit. There was never any questions because, I just can't, everyone on the label is my friends, you know what I mean? And it's like, but the fact of the matter is that there's a huge difference in the way that we operate and the way that those guys operated, period.
And speaking of operating correctly and doing all the right things, you got the notice of Def Jam Records. There was a cease and desist order with the whole Def Jam thing, which sounds, you think of Russell Simmons and all that. You think the champion of hip hop. They're hating on an independent label. Do you throw up in your mouth when you hear Russell Simmons' name?
Nah, man. I always wanted to do a deal with Russell.
Yeah.
Finally I got to do one. Just wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I wasn't really. I wasn't offended, man.
Right.
It's business, man. Look, if at this point, if a record label came out and it was called Definitive Jacks, I would be like, and it was doing hip hop, I would be like, I might say the same thing to them, but I thought it was the way that I looked at it was an homage, to them. The Crush Groove is the reason why I started a record label. I skipped class for 2 weeks and watched Crush Groove every day when that shit came out, and Def Jam is and all the people on Def Jam are the reason why I started making music, really, and so it was it's years ago that this happened, it's old news, but there was a little part of me that was just a little disappointed because I looked up to, and still do look up to that whole era, the Def Jam era. But, at the end of the day, I understand the business of it. So.